Have you ever seen someone doing push-ups with their arms and legs all bloody? Have you ever seen someone being dragged along the street by their bleeding, torn-up feet? How about someone who writes books with his eyes bleeding out of exhaustion? Welcome to my world. When I was just 21 years old, I became the youngest person to run across America. I ran from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean in 75 days, pushing through blisters, heat stroke, and exhaustion. The toughest thing was the mental game. Pushing my mind was more challenging than the physical pain. This is the reason why I started researching what pushes people to do crazy things. And that's when I discovered the art of Stoicism. I began to realize that I wasn't suffering because of something bad that happened to me. I was born into it. We are all born into pain, and we're meant to endure it. I found that real strength is when we control our minds, not when we control our environment. I want to show you extreme visuals of mental and physical endurance so you can experience these feelings yourself. First, let's look at the physical pain I went through when I ran across America. I would wake up before the sun. I trained between 14 to 18 hours a day. I would eat 6 meals a day and drink 1 gallon of water daily. I was on a mission to make it to the Pacific Ocean. To achieve my goal, I had to train my body to overcome its limitations. The first month of training was easy. My body felt like it could go forever. But then the blisters started coming. First, small ones, then bigger and bigger. Then they became pus-filled boils. Some were the size of quarters, others were the size of golf balls. These blisters tore open, causing intense pain. I remember dragging myself along the highway, crying out to God, "Why did you let me do this?" I was desperate to remove my shoes and socks, but I knew if I stopped, my feet would be ruined. So I kept moving. After a few weeks, my feet were a mess. They were covered in dirt, blood, and sweat. It was hard to tell where my feet ended and the road began. I couldn't feel my toes anymore. Each step I took was excruciatingly painful. I thought about quitting, but I didn't. Instead, I looked at the faces of the people who supported me and asked myself, how could I let them down? That's when I remembered what my dad told me. He said, "We don't rise to the occasion. We fall to our limitations." I knew that if I quit, I wouldn't just be letting myself down, but everyone who believed in me. So I pushed on, even though my feet were hurting so much that I could barely walk. If you want to change your life, you have to get out of your comfort zone. If I had listened to my body and rested, I wouldn't have made it to the other side. When you do something new, your body always reacts negatively. It will try to convince you to stop. I had to keep going even when I wanted to quit. Your body isn't the problem, you are. So many people quit when they see other people suffer. When I was running, I saw the suffering in people's eyes. I saw parents whose children died, homeless people who lost everything. I saw veterans who lost limbs. Their strength inspired me to keep going, even when I thought I couldn't take another step. There's a moment in every journey where you want to give up. Sometimes it happens right away. Other times it takes weeks or months. The biggest mistake you can make is to quit when you think you're done. You should quit when you think you can't take another step. Do that one more time. The next visual of endurance I want to share with you is the pain my eyes experienced when I wrote my book. For 2 straight weeks, I wrote my book without sleep. I wrote from morning to night. I didn't leave my room. I didn't shower. I didn't eat food. I only drank water. When you write, you know how it feels to stare at a blank page. Imagine staring at thousands of blank pages. Now imagine staring at them for weeks. It's hard to describe the feeling. All I can say is that it was hell. When I was writing, I started seeing spots. I tried to ignore them, but they kept getting bigger. Then I started seeing lines. I thought I needed glasses, but I didn't have time to get them. Then I started seeing colors. I thought I was hallucinating. But then I realized that my eyes were bleeding. I didn't care. I kept writing. I wanted to finish my book. I didn't care if I went blind. I kept writing until my hands bled. I didn't care if I hurt myself. I kept writing until I finished my book. For 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. I slept on my desk. I ate on my desk. I showered on my desk. I lived on my desk. The only thing I cared about was finishing my book. I didn't care about anything else. It's easy to be strong when you have energy. It's hard to be strong when you have nothing left. Everyone has limits. No matter how much you train, there is a limit. You may think that you can go further than your idols. You may think that you're better than everyone else. You may think that you're invincible. But you're wrong. There's always a limit. I suffered for 2 weeks without sleep to prove to myself that I had no limits. After 2 weeks, I finished my book. I collapsed on the floor and passed out. When I woke up, I looked around and asked myself, what am I doing here? I didn't recognize the room. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know who I was. I felt empty. I didn't have any emotions. I was numb. You must understand that suffering is necessary for growth. It doesn't matter what you do in life. If you want to succeed, you must suffer. You must push your body beyond its limits. You must push your mind beyond its limits. You must do things that you don't want to do. You must face things that scare you. You must suffer. Now let me share with you some ways you can add strength to your life through suffering. First, you must learn to be okay with being uncomfortable. In our society, we avoid discomfort at all costs. We don't want to feel bad, so we do drugs. We drink alcohol. We watch pornography. We overeat. We do whatever we can to escape discomfort. But this isn't the way of the strong. The strong embrace discomfort. They learn to be okay with being uncomfortable. They learn to enjoy it even. Second, you must learn to turn down parties. Parties are the worst place to meet people. People at parties are drunk, high, or both. You don't want to be around these types of people. They're not real. They're not genuine. They're not honest. I never went to parties when I was younger. I would always tell my friends that I had work to do. The truth was I didn't want to go to parties. I hated parties. I still hate parties. If you want to be strong, you must learn to say no to parties. Third, you must learn to eat alone. There's nothing more pathetic than someone who eats alone. I spent most of my childhood eating alone. It's the best way to improve your focus. When you eat alone, no one bothers you. You can sit in silence and enjoy your food. You can think about your life and plan for the future. Fourth, you must learn to suffer in solitude. Most people seek comfort when they're suffering. They want to be around other people. They want to talk about their problems. Don't be that guy. Be the guy who suffers in silence. Be the guy who doesn't complain. Be the guy who doesn't seek pity. You must learn to suffer in solitude. Finally, fifth, you must learn to have no expectations. Expectations lead to disappointment. When you expect something to happen and it doesn't, you're disappointed. When you expect something to be a certain way and it's not, you're disappointed. Stop expecting things. Stop expecting life to give you what you want. Stop expecting people to do what you want them to do. Expect nothing. When you expect nothing, you're free from disappointment. You're free from pain. You're free from suffering. The secret to enduring pain and suffering is to understand that it's all part of your purpose. You weren't cursed. You were born for this pain. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Let it make you stronger.